I started up the stream a little earlier to make sure that everything was good to go, and then only just now realized my mic wasn't turned on. Sorry about that sudden noise. Alright, looks like we are good, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, and this is not the game I was planning on playing today, at least not initially, but, well, to be fair, I wasn't initially, well, when the week began, I wasn't planning on streaming on a Friday to begin with, but what it ended up boiling down to is that the next couple of Wednesdays for me are going to be rather busy, and so rather than coming to a live stream where I'm going to be looking at a JRPG and be half asleep during it, and therefore impatient with, well, more impatient with chat and the game than usual, my thought was, you know what? We'll stream on Friday for the next few weeks and see what happens. Honestly, I might make it the permanent stream day given the circumstances, as it'll likely be easier to set things up given my day job schedule, so we'll see how it plays out. So, originally I was thinking of doing a JRPG now, but as was posted in the Discord, I am JRPG'd out as a result of wrapping up something else, at least from a gameplay standpoint. So, I think we're just going to start with a different game today, because a few days ago, we received a trailer. Technically a launch trailer, although the launch for said thing isn't until a few weeks from now. It's actually kind of funny because I had thought, okay, well, you know, I played Myst back in at the start of this year and thought, okay, you know what? This is a nice game. As I'm working on all these other projects, this will make for a nice thing to send to the review before going off and working on long-term projects for a while. And then I get this trailer for Riven, the sequel to Myst, getting remade, presumably with VR, so it'll probably be similar to the 2021 remake of Myst. I'm sat there going, you know what? Search engine optimization, let's freaking go. We're talking about Riven now, much sooner than I expected. Yes, I am being shameless, but you know what? If it works, it works. I mean, the Tears of the Kingdom video is doing well, and I SEO'd the hell out of that one, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So, I've got the game set up. I've got my drawing tablet at the ready for when we need to take notes, because I definitely needed that when I was playing through Myst. So, Riven, the sequel to Myst. I don't know too much about it. All I know is that, well, I know my parents weren't able to finish it because life got busy for them when they tried, but still, I'll be very curious to see if I can figure it out. So, that in mind, we'll go ahead and see what chat's been up to, and then we'll launch straight into it. Let's see, and then there's a question from Gilgamesh, hello, and specifically talking about Xenoblade, that'll be saved for next week. I'm not going to be talking about Xenoblade for a while. I spent 5 hours with that game today. I'm done. I am done for a while. Ask me on Friday next week. Let's see, on question, but thoughts on black licorice. I don't think I've ever had it, actually. In October, in mid to late October, I'm going to a convention with my friends, so if we stream Friday, then I probably won't be there. Fair enough. Yep, you do you. Don't let me keep you away. Never been to a convention, actually. Might be worth considering at some point, although I don't know if there would be much point in doing a meetup or anything like that. Might be worth doing at some point, but I don't know. Am I necessarily prepared to show what I look like, huh? To be fair, I'll be getting pretty damn close if the Pillars of Eternity video is any indication, but that's not going to be for a few months, and that's technically a caricature more so than actuality. Either way, looks like that's all from chat for now, so let's get into it. Wait, Ubisoft published this? How the mighty have fallen. Actually, I haven't heard of marimba used in a track for a while. Huh, neat. Alright, there's the company name. Interesting to see that they're still going by virtue of the fact that they can put out a remake.
Thank God you've returned. I need your help. There's a great deal of history that you should know. But I'm afraid that I must continue my writing. Here. Most of what you'll need to know is in there. Keep it well hidden. For all reasons you'll discover, I can't send you to Riven with a way out. But I can give you this. It appears to be a linking book back here to Dunny. But it's actually a one-man prison. You'll need it, I'm afraid, to capture Gan. Once you've found Catherine, signal me, and I'll come with a linking book to bring us back. There's also a chance, if this all goes well, that I might be able to get you back to the place that you came from.
There's the title crawl. All right. The stage has been set. And we're already behind bars. Sounds about right. Memory serves, there's a little bit before we're allowed to wander freely. Apparently so. Who might you be?
Yo? Feriaje. Kakaware po. Namodugo po men po. Tagema. Rekoa. Tagema. Musu rekoa. Misirapo. Misirapo. Umutika buku wa nai. Misirapo. Umutika buku wa nai. Buku wa nai. Misirapo. Buku wa nai. Buku wa nai. Buku wa nai. Buku wa nai.
Wait, wasn't that the boat that we were supposed to use to trap somebody? Oh wait, somebody else must have... Wait, did you just take a dart to the neck or something? Now, who might you be? Why open the way for us, I wonder? Hang on, did you just... Hang on, did you hit the trap book or the... Hang on, did you hit the trap book or the lever? I'm a little confused about that point, and let's see. What else, chat, I've been up to while this has been going on? Meetup's unlikely because I live in Minnesota and you live in Texas. I actually don't live in Texas right now, but still, I don't like traveling much. Fair enough. Oh, hey, Lou. I'll use this as my main at the moment due to stuff needing to download. Alright. Fun fact, there are Myst books that reveal a lot of lore for them. Well, I mean, we saw that in the library. Wouldn't surprise me if that worked elsewhere. Here's a link to the Wikipedia page. Oh, hang on. There's more than that? Okay. You're behind bars for 17 war crimes, 7 countless genocides, interesting definition of countless, 5 uses of nuclear weapons, and 5 times you didn't commit heresy. Alright, let's see what this has to say for itself. Let's see. I wonder what this dating system is. They held for more than 30 years, but the corrections I made to Riven have finally failed. The island has resumed the familiar pattern of decay that is the hallmark of my father's work. I must now race to implement this new patch before it's too late. I only hope that my revised theories are sound. Revisions to Riven completed. That was presumably 6 days later. There are still a number of minor adjustments which needs to be made, but the basic corrections have been entered and should be working. Something's not right. I've been monitoring the instruments for several hours now, but have thus far observed no change. It's possible that I've made an error, though I've checked my entry against my pre-notation and can find no discrepancy. I've not had a rest in nearly 3 days, so it may be that I'm just not seeing it. If the fault is with my foundational assumptions, however, perhaps after a short rest I will see something. Success! So 2 days later. It appears that my repairs have been effective after all. The gateway image has become noticeably clearer, and although it is impossible to know this with absolute certainty, the island seems to have quieted itself. Just a few more weeks of work, and I should be free at last to go there myself and attempt to bring Catherine back. The past 8 months have left me little time to think, to devise a strategy for getting her out of there. I've received no sign from her in all that time. I am afraid that... no... Interesting. So is there... No, it doesn't look like there's a page missing, though I guess this is a journal, so if he's not erasing stuff, so it might have just been... This is something he's writing down, so an idle thought could have eventually changed things up. Okay, so, you know what? Fair enough. That's neat. No, I must assume that she is alright, lest my fears undermine my efforts to bring her back. A day later, I did not create the Age of Riven. Unlike my father, I have never presumed to have such power, and yet the future of all those who live there has fallen into my hands. So far, I've managed to read the page before it turns. The island continues to appear stable, and I would like to believe that I have saved a dying world, but the theories of one individual cannot support the lives of real people indefinitely. I must get everyone off of Riven as soon as possible. The problem now is Gen. I'll never be able to rescue Catherine and relocate the islanders if he is still the man he once was. I haven't seen him in over 30 years, but his history forces me to assume that he is still a threat. His myopic mission to restore the Donny civilization has left too many innocent cultures dying in its wake, and would continue to do so were he to once again be free of the confines of Riven, or the Fifth Age as he coldly titled it. The universe has been safe from his corruptive influence for the last 33 years, because no one has been able to leave that age, the last linking book out of Riven having been lost in the star fissure upon my return to Myst. Oh, is that what... Interesting. So is that what we happened upon? Interesting. That was my intention, to maroon my father on Riven by removing all the existing links to other worlds, and since the art of constructing books had long been lost with the fall of the Donny, he would be trapped there for the remainder of his lifetime, and effectively segregated from the countless other worlds that he would have invaded. In effect, that is what we achieved, but the way it fell, however, was no one's ideal. Though the sting of the incident has gradually faded from my memory, the deep pain of responsibility for what actually came to be has never left me. At the time, it all seemed so clear. Gen's destructive path could not be allowed to continue. But it was never my choice that the innocent inhabitants of Riven, who had already suffered so much, would be the ones to pay for it. Enough. To dwell in the past is to die in the present. The situation is not the same as it was then. The knowledge I've acquired in the years since that time have yet to be applied to this problem. A day later. I think I have the solution. Why did it not occur to me sooner? Well, why it did not occur to me sooner, I did not know, unless the idea of it had been pushed out with the thought of my sons. A prison book. Many years, during a hunting expedition through the ruins of Donny, I chanced upon a formula for a most unusual type of book. Unfortunately, due to the fact that my father was then in the habit of confiscating my discoveries, I was forced to leave it behind. Years later, however, as part of my efforts to protect the vulnerable worlds linked to the books in my library, I was pleased to find that I could still recall most of the formula, and with little experimentation, quickly succeeded in creating one of these devices myself. The procedure is actually quite simple. By altering key lines of text but slightly, a normal linking book's connection can be partially severed, such that anyone who attempts to use the book will be permanently trapped in the dark void of the link. That is, unless someone else then uses the book, at which point that person would become trapped, and the first person displaced back into the world. The technique can be applied to books that have already been written, changes to the original text being so slight that anyone who is unfamiliar with the code will be unable to detect them. If indeed my father is not changed, what better bait could be than a book that appeared to be a link back here to Donnie? Trouble. This is a couple weeks later. My nightly analysis of the island's condition has revealed that the tremors have begun again. The pattern, however, is new. The disturbances are the result of the changes I have made. This did not at first concern me, however. Tremors of this type were one of the possible side effects that I had anticipated during this initial phase of the island's readjustment. Still, in order to verify my assumptions, I decided to calculate again, incorporating the new data. The results were not what I expected. The damage to the understructure is more extensive than I'd realized. I can no longer go to Riven as planned. Catherine, forgive me. A day later. I must act while I still have the time. The signs are barely visible, but there's no question that the island's deterioration is accelerating. Total collapse is imminent, unless I can keep ahead, and that is becoming increasingly difficult to do. Oh, so that's what he is... Oh, so that's why he refuses to stop his writing. So, in theory, he stops writing in order to effectively influence the course of this world. It all falls apart. Interesting. With every passing moment, I gain a clearer picture of the incredible chaos that my father's economy of words has yielded. But it is a dismaying process. The complexity of the problem is overwhelming. There is no end to this. The last few days have all but convinced me that the collapse of Riven is inevitable, and that, at best, I can only strive to delay it now, and hope that at some point the island will become stable enough to risk a rescue attempt. I think I've come up with a way to subdue the tremors. It will require my exclusive attention for at least a month or two, so it may be necessary to discontinue these journal entries for a while. Something truly miraculous has happened. Beyond all conceivable probability, someone has finally found my lost Myst linking book, and has freed me from this prison. I immediately realized that this could be the solution to my dilemma, and I believe my mysterious benefactor is willing to assist me. I'm still not sure it could work. The logistics of such a scheme are formidable, but the mere fact that it may now be possible for me to continue my repairs to Riven, and yet proceed with my original intent to find Catherine, has given me renewed hope. The last few days have left me little time to work out the remaining problems with sending someone else to Riven. It did occur to me, however, that if a way could be found to signal me once Gen had been captured, it would no longer be necessary to take a real linking book to Riven, and risk the possibility of inadvertently releasing Gen. The deteriorating state of the gateway image makes the use of a visual signal impossible, but the picture remains a reliable indicator of Riven's condition nonetheless. By measuring and interpreting variations in the noise patterns, I am still able to observe basic changes that occur in the age, even though I cannot see them. The problem is that my instruments can only detect changes that occur on a fundamental level, and it seems unlikely that an individual could affect such an elementary change from within an age. The idea may be foolish. Still, there is a known weakness that may be worth investigating, an anomaly that appears as a rift between two separate systems, the star fissure. But how, or even if this fact could be exploited, I cannot say. Sending someone to Riven also means that once I received the signal that they were ready to return, I would have to leave my writing in order to take a real linking book there myself. However, provided my father was safely out of the way, this should take very little time. After that, assuming the island does not incur much damage in my absence, it should then be a relatively simple matter to hold it together long enough for Catherine to return to Riven and evacuate the remaining islanders. Predetermining a signal without knowing the topography of the island may prove to be impossible, but I'm afraid there can be only one answer to the question of whether or not I should send my friend to Riven with a way out. The potential for failure will be greatly diminished if the prison book is all that is taken there. I'm sure my father is expecting me to bring a linking book to Riven. May he not be disappointed. Alright, so there we are. It would appear that we have much to consider. Alright, so interesting. So it always loops back around here. So what exactly was I in? So I was in that there, huh? Interesting that they have a small transition scene now. Okay, so what he hit was effectively trapping that mechanism. So presumably this could have worked as an elevator or a way back. but here we are. Is it possible to go this way? Would appear not. Assuming I can go back in here. Yep. Alright. Let's see. Well, gotta click around on everything, right? Oh wait, no, I'm seeing that and thinking it's a stairway. Okay. So, let's start by checking through here real quick. Okay, so got something over here I'll need to mind. So, 5 slots, huh? Alright, let's get out the notepad. We're probably gonna need it. Okay, so I guess I'll just call it a manhole cover for now. Why is my handwriting always terrible when I'm on this thing? Alright, there we go. Let's see. Is there anything that I can mess with? Okay, so it looks like I should be able to look through that, but it looks as if... Hang on a sec, what's this? It looks like there's something I have to do before that'll actually work with me. Looks like that's attached to some sort of... Oh wait, the pipe over here. Alright, so that's just a sheer drop-off. Okay then. Let's see, what's Chat been up to? No, your real life novels? Alright. Remember, Jay, you should try holding buttons in sometimes. Holding buttons down. Yeah, I know. We'll see what we find this time, right? And then Lou's just posting silliness. Did you see the mess I posted on Discord? I need to still look at it. Just saw that the Dodgers collaborated with some VTubers. The heck? That's okay then. That's a thing apparently. Alright, so we got a view of the area. So this is Riven, huh? So we've got a pathway up here. What did that do? Ooh. Interesting. Okay, so that moves this over here. Alright, so it allows us to view something, but that doesn't necessarily tell us much about what we're supposed to be doing yet. Thoughts on Summer Games Fest? I haven't been paying too much attention to it. Also, that looks a little loud. I'm gonna knock down the volume a little. It's still at this stage, huh? I hope I didn't soft lock, but then again, I don't know how swiftly it's supposed to turn. Wasn't exactly paying attention. Presumably there are multiple settings. Ah, here we are. Okay, so... it looks like there's likely a scarab along both of them. Multiple scarabs then, huh? I wonder what this text is supposed to mean. Looks like it's intended to be illegible given the circumstances. If they wanted it to be a readable script in English, they would have set it up as such. Then we have this key. We have that door over here. Interesting. Alright, you don't need to throw the vibraphone in yet. Alright, so what all is this then? Is this meant to be a shrine to someone then? Okay, let's just make sure we're properly oriented. Yeah, let's just go from this direction. So, use this to help orient. Okay, so we got this. Okay, so, looked at this one, I'm pretty sure, but let's confirm. Yep. Okay, so, I wonder if this is Gen, or at least his view of himself. was SK. So this is presumably when the man we're speaking to fell into the fissure, perhaps? Or perhaps some other influence, but hard to say for certain. Alright, then we have this apparently. I wonder what this is supposed to be. I wonder if this is something spoken about by the Donnie, because the way the man spoke about Donnie... The way the man spoke about Donnie, it seems like it's not just a place but a civilization as well. It looks like that's more just petroglyphs, hieroglyphs, just detailing either how he sees himself or perhaps something more than that. That's creepy. I'm gonna save before I hit that one. What does this do? Actually, real quick, can I take a look at those things off to the side? Would appear I can. Huh. I can open a doorway there. I wonder what benefit that does for me. And there's nothing over here. I wonder what that's supposed to show me. Still, let's go ahead and click on everything, see what we find. Doesn't look like that does anything for us yet. Unless... Is there something that I'm supposed to trigger before I'm allowed to hit that, perhaps? Dumb question. If I don't flip that over, will that have an influence on whether I can use this? Go ahead and close it again, because I don't know what kind of effect that has. If I'm not able to navigate through there, I can always just double back, without too much concern. Man, it sounds like something's moving now. Actually, hang on. I can't believe I didn't think to try this. Is that room shown in the left thing the one you've been to before? It doesn't look quite right, because that looks to be more of a rectangular chamber. Okay, so I can't click to the side. Can't seem to look up or anywhere else. It sounds like something is working, but it's hard to tell what. Yeah, because that room over there on the left, Regal, looks like it is more more rectangular. I suspect I just don't have enough information to say what exactly I'm working with yet. What else is she up to? Thoughts on Summer Games Fest? I believe it's run by the same folks as the Game Awards, so screw them for how they treated the devs of the 2023 Game Awards with their rapid uptext. I don't keep up with award shows or festivals all that much. So it doesn't look like there's any way around that either. Makes me wonder what that up there is supposed to be, because that looks like it would be a stand for a microphone, but hard to say for certain. Yeah, so we're guessing that we're treating him as a prophet, at least based on the petroglyphs. It's a possibility that that's how he was seen by the people here. And where does this take us? Oh, this must be the chamber that we were viewing, right? And there's the open doorway. Okay, that's useful. Wonder if this was intended as a throne of sorts. So, presumably some kind of offering. Potentially to some god or godlike figure. Certainly looks important enough for same. Well, let's check through here while we're at it. Oh, what'd that do? Oh, hello. Oh, I remember this part. This is the part that the family really liked because we got to watch the tram move, basically. Yeah, so we have a little cart, or whatever you want to call it. Alright, so we can look out that way. Doesn't look like we can go much beyond it, so... It looks like if we want to explore further... I wonder where this will take us. Alright, so it'll turn us around so we're facing forward. That's good. And away we go. I wonder how this will look in the new version. Imagine this will look trippy in VR. Okay, so this takes us over to the second island then, huh? Alright then. Guess then we step out and we're on our way to the next bit. Okay. Okay, should check up with chat while I'm here. Let's see. I'd read the Myst book sometime. There are 3 of them. There are plans for more because a preview for a 4th book was included with Myst 5, but it never came out. See, I think Gen says he sees himself as a god based on those images. Probably. The Book of Atros serves as a prequel to the events of the eponymous first game in the Myst series. It introduces both new characters and old ones seen in the games. The Book of Tiana takes place earlier than the Book of Atros. The first part of the book focuses on the life of Atros' grandfather. Aetris, with his parents Callus and Tessara. Aetris is meeting with Tiana and the birth of their son Gen. And let's see. In the Book of Dani, Aetris opens the crumpled exit of the room in Kavi, where he had been imprisoned by Gen. Well, a lot of that is going to be nonsense for a while, I suspect. What'd this do? I wonder what that'll be relevant for. Okay, so is that the only thing on the wall over there? Yeah, it looks like it. The only possible interaction point over there. What was that Roman numeral? No, not exactly a Roman numeral. I'm gonna write that down in case that pattern shows up at any point. There we go. No need to show that since it's a quick sketch. Not even worthy of the term sketch, most likely. Let's see. We've got a pretty well-lit pattern looking at all this. What'd this do? And nothing by the looks of it. We've got a way up here. Alright, so that gives us some degree of... Now what might those be? Okay, so some kind of creature down that way. Off to the ocean. Doesn't look like there's much to interact with out here. We've got this small cove. Guess we'll see if it becomes relevant later. Then another pathway that leads elsewhere. Huh? I lost my cursor. Hold on, that's something that looks pretty similar to the other thing we had saw above that manhole cover. The CG still looks good? Oh yeah, the amount of detail they were able to pack in is impressive. And this is still just using the Scum VM as well, so this is technically emulated too. Alright, so we have one over here. Looks like it'll be important to progressing. Staying. So presumably that over there is a settlement of sorts? Possibly. What'd this do? Okay, so that fills up the pool. Hang on a sec, it's that same eyeball. Interesting. And this one has a different symbol on it. Okay. Let me write that down real quick. Now let me see it again real quick. My own records, so... Alright, that should do. It's good? Yes, we're good. Alright. Looks like there's a fair amount down there that's been built out. I wonder how much of that's man-made. Oh, interesting. Am I allowed down there? I don't know if you can hear my mouse clicking unless I'm speaking, because I adjusted my noise gate recently. No, looks like I should be able to do something with this, because that looks to be a similar railing as before. But for whatever reason, it's not letting me down. I wonder if it's because it doesn't quite connect to the ground, perhaps. Interesting. So, looks like for now we're at a dead end, but at least that's what it seems like at the moment. Let's go check out the other direction, then. I'll try not to click too quickly. Hang on a sec, was there something over here? No, that's not considered part of the path. Wish I could make my voice do anything. I want it to be where it would make voice acting so easy. Well, there's a reason why we pay people for it. You make fun of my line delivery, but it ain't easy stuff. Alright, so we've got pathways over here. Axe. This must pass for the closest thing to a forest. Got a little bug moving along. Oh, that's neat. Okay, so what have we got around here? Ooh. Let's not go down that way just yet. Let's follow this door first. Oh, now this looks fascinating. Another one of those. I wonder what those beacons are supposed to be for. Okay, so this is another route back out. At least so far as I can tell. Let's just go back over here real quick so we can reassess. Okay, so we've got... Yeah, let's go further back than this so I can get a good view of the land. Okay, so we've got two pathways that seem to converge at some point. So, that leads back over to the forested area if we want to check that thread. But what's down this blue path? Someone really likes their marimba. I mean, I've got one. I like my marimba too, but... Oh, there's someone up there. In the top left? Oh, hey, and a child. Whoever these people are, they must not want me to be around. Or must be nervous about me. To be fair, I am a stranger to them, so... I wonder what that pattern's supposed to be. It looks like it might be possible to go down there, but I'd either have to drain off the water or engage in some other chicanery. At least that's what it looks like. Because that looks like... It looks like that's an interactable point, but... don't have enough information to say for certain yet. Alright, so this leads into a similar area to where we've been already. I guess this gets me into the village. I take it the locals aren't too thrilled with me being here, but... doesn't look like I have a lot of options for traversal either. Here we are. So this leads up to where we saw that first person. So does this allow me to go inside here? It does. That allows me to close it back up. Alright, cool. You know there's a Myst MMO. What? Since when? I knew there were a bunch of games, but what? Kiln. Interesting. It's still warm. Am I allowed to go inside of this thing? Yes. Alright, so neither of those work. Alright, so that closes back up. Okay, is that going to allow me to traverse through this area now? Good chance of it. Yes, okay, so that was a cart railing that I saw. I just needed to lower something into it. Excellent. Alright, cool. I posted the Myst MMO in Discord. Alright, under game suggestions. Alright, cool. I'll take a look at it later. Alright, it looks like it's likely all that I can interact with at this point. It looks like if the locals are going to give me the time of day, I'll have to work for it. That in mind? Looks like there's still not much I can do on that side, but perhaps if I go around I might be able to do something. Because it looks like there's a couple different points where I could descend below. Or perhaps what ends up happening is that... Actually, maybe that's why it looks weird to me as far as how tall the... ladders are. Maybe it's only designed to stick out as far as is required to get into the pod. That would make sense to me. Alright, so let's finish exploring through this forested area, and then we'll check out the minecart. Actually, I'm gonna write a note to myself as well. Figure out how move Water pool. Alright. There we go. Huh. How long has that been moving? Alright, so this is the other pathway. Looks more like a religious symbol than anything else. Even has mood lighting. Okay, so this looks like it's more aesthetic than anything else. Interesting. So it looks like... Startled me for a second. Hate that they have stuff like that. So is this replacing Golden Sun, or will it be an alternative? The plan as of right now is to play Golden Sun tomorrow. Because the reason I'm playing Riven now is because after throwing 5 hours at Xenoblade earlier today, I didn't want to play a JRPG, so my thought was, you know what? I'm the one who determines my own schedule, so we'll just flip these games around. Because Riven is going to be the replacement for Metal Gear. Now, where's this take us? Are we playing a racing game or a point and click? Ooh, this looks like it takes us through the water. Okay, this is gonna be real trippy if someone gets a VR headset for the remake. Oh man. Interesting. So where's this gonna take us? They should play Myst? Oh, what is that? Do I even want to know what that is, chat? I like how they handled the lighting for that. Really? Huh. I guess I'm not going back for a while, am I? Alright, what do we got here? Basically nothing that way. Let's see. What, do I have to stand on that before pulling the lever? Pull the lever, Crunk! Hey, come on. Why do we even have that lever? Interesting. Alright, will this allow me back? Yes, it will. I feel like it would have been a lot... I don't see why we needed the ramp to just spit us back. That seems a bit excessive, whoever designed this. Alright, so we've got what looks to be some sort of industrial waste. Open area through here. So some kind of water valve that I need to presumably connect if I want to reactivate. I wonder what effect that has. Let's investigate around elsewhere first. Hang on. Were those flames below? Huh. Those look like natural gas flames. So is this supposed to be a refinery of some sort? Yeah, it's possible. Oh, that's boiling water. Interesting. I have no idea what kind of effect any of this has. Oh, okay, so that controlled the natural gas, huh? So if I flip that back on, presumably the flames start back up, and the water starts boiling again? Yes. Okay. Still don't have a clear idea as to what the rest does, though. Although presumably I have to stop the water from boiling if I want to go inside. Let's find out. What's this chat been up to? Actually, I should just pop out this chat window so it's easier to look at it. Here we are. Just have it over right over yonder. Okay, that should give me a bit of a better look. Okay, so bring OBS back up and game back up. Alright, good. It's finished while I was working on that. Actually. Okay, so now... Huh, neat. Okay, so I guess that's the lock disengaging. Cool. Anything I missed? Let's see, Lou talking about the emojis he's creating for the Discord. Hooray, just what I needed. Even more stuff to have thrown at me. Yeah, I suppose there are worse things. Yeah, feel free to experiment. Alright, what's over this way? Huh, it did allow me past the pipe. Interesting. Wonder where that's... Oh, hello. How do I get to that ladder? No easy way to get up there at the moment. At least according to that. So, if we're not allowed up there, although it looks like there's some kind of railing through there. So, I guess then, what do I want to try out? It looks like, I mean, my assumption would be that I have to mess with this over here in order to get something working. Because presumably, well, actually, hang on a minute. Oh, wait, that was a minecart, right? So this would have been the point where industrial waste would go down there. So that ramp was important, not for transporting humans, but for transporting raw materials. That makes more sense. Okay, then. What if I point this in this direction for the moment? Interesting that I'm allowed to go through there. Not allowed to interact with too much down this way, but... Okay. Poke around a little more. Oh, and that allowed me to drain the water off. And it's not like the emojis will end humanity yet. Yeah, you keep saying that, Lou. So now I'm allowed to actually go into here and actually walk around on the ground. See what that does. Oh, that allows me in the pipes, huh? The pipes are calling. That's the water drain. This leads out into... Oh, we're allowed to leave the pipe. Oh, this allows us to get the aerial view of it, huh? Cool. Alright, this allowed us up here. Very cool. And then we can unlock this so that we can come back, presumably. Very nice. So, what's in here? So some kind of fan that if we want through there, we'll have to disable. What might this be? I wonder what this is supposed to be for. Hang on, is this a pipe? Hang on, this is a pipe next to us, isn't it? I guess in the strictest sense, but it doesn't look to be connected to anything specific. Although we do have... Oh wait, this over here is a pipe. So, which one does that connect? I wonder. Let's see, so we drained off the water this way. So we've got what looks to be... Hard to tell what that's connected to just from our level, but I would presume it connects back over this way. So presumably, now that we've got this way open, perhaps we're able to go over there and change things around. Let's find out. Ever play one of the I Spy games? Oh, I can't recall. Maybe at one point. It's been a while, though. I didn't grow up with them, though. I think I may have played one or two. There we go. I have no idea what this is going to get us, though. What if I hit it again? Wonder what kind of effect that had. Not allowed to mess with that anymore. I don't know if I have an easy way to... How do I want to play? Well, move this for now. Because this looks like it's supposed to be some kind of trap, perhaps. But it's hard to tell for what. Because let's see. I wonder what that valve... Well, I wonder what that air vent is connected to. Or what it's venting from. It looks like there's something over there that might have an influence, but it's hard to tell as of now what that influence might be. Is there any more that I need to interact with as far as this thing is concerned? To be fair, I don't have a clear idea as to what that particularly even does. That reactivates the fire, but I don't know if we necessarily need to worry about that right now unless we redirect the flow of water. Because it looks like the way things are right now, actually this will redirect the flow of water away, correct? Well, into the ground presumably. But since the water's been drained off, I don't know if it's necessarily something to worry about. Well, I guess before we get too far, we can see what messing with the flow does over here. Does it have any effect on this? Actually, easy way to find out. Where's the ladder that takes us back up there? There we are. Okay, so that powers the grinder. But presumably, that's not necessarily something super relevant to us, since that we have no raw material to process, necessarily. So at least for the moment, that doesn't avail us for much. Got that over there. So with where we've got it directed right now... Okay, so that just fills the water back up. Oh, I see. I think I understand. So, this is just the water valve. So this is presumably controlling water flow from a particular spot. So I direct it that way, it goes over there. I direct it this way, it goes over to the grinder. Okay, so that in mind. I just need to figure out how that connects. Some sort of railing over there. Actually, I wonder if I gain anything from starting the boiler back up. Because to be fair, I still don't know what this over here does. Interesting. I wonder what effect that has. If any. Well, let's shut off the boiler for now. And see what kind of effect that has. Worst case scenario, I can always drain the water off somewhere else, now that I know. So let's see what kind of effect that has. Now let's drain the water off. You can just direct it this way for now. Whoops. Little too eager. Oh yeah, I guess I do need to have the... Right, I do need to have this pointed in this direction, don't I? Alright, so, now that we've got this, presumably I flip this. Okay, that just reactivates the boiler. Unless... Oh, did I get rid of the water before looking at this? Did I just redirect it away? Presumably so. Not that it matters over much anymore. I may have inadvertently happened across the solution. I'm just trying to figure out what the wheel is going to influence. Unless... Although, let me think. If I were to hazard a guess, the wheel would allow... Well, while the water is boiling, presumably, that'll allow steam to vent somewhere. Whoops, didn't mean to click that. So we'll go ahead and reactivate it and head back up that way and see what kind of effect that has. Perhaps it might have some effect on where the vent's going. Hard to say, because I don't know what exactly this boiler is used for necessarily. Let's see, so we've got those over there, so that looks like it feeds back into the lake for some reason. Seems like I should be able to get through that at some point, but that's not going to work because of the circumstance. Shame I'm not allowed to go any further that direction. So that was the pipe that I went through. But that was just, presumably, now that's cut off in the circumstance. Hang on. Idea. I don't think this will make a difference, but I'm curious. This is just going to be the same result as before, right? Alright, as expected. So, until I have a material that I can actually put there, which I don't have at the moment. What, am I supposed to fish some kind of material out from the other spot? Yeah, it's possible. Back through here real quick. Now, what am I supposed to do with you? Because I can lower you. But I don't know what you're being lowered to. I can disconnect that somehow. Looks like they do want me to go in there somehow, but if I'm to make that work... Real quick, is there anything of interest while this is active? So you got a bit of water pooling there. Presumably when it drains off. Can't walk that way. Wonder where that pipe is. Am I allowed to step on this in any way? I can put that back. Can't put it in an inventory. Because that looks like it's some kind of bait. Problem is, for what? Suppose we can leave it alone for a while. Let me... Well, I did want to try and think tonight, so... I can figure this out eventually. Let's see. That didn't work. Really running now. There's some other way to approach this. Because it looks like there is that railing, it looks like there is that walkway through there, but it seems largely disconnected. Still, given the nature of this game, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a way to look back on this later. Because it seems that there is something I can do with this over here, but I might just not have the materials for it. So, let's go ahead and write down what I know as of right now. So I'll just make another page for this area specifically. Okay, so let me write down what we know. Okay, so. Oops. Okay. Let's see. Oh, did rid of something from. Okay, there we go. Now that I can see where I'm going. Okay, so we've got the boiler. Heck. Alright. Yes, I know this is making for scintillating scintillating viewing, but okay. To approach. Come on, you're better than that. Alright, that should do for now. Alright, back to the game. So, we'll go ahead and take the minecart back for now. Probably should have had this running while I was taking the notes, huh? Either way. How can your writing be good? Mine looks like ancient artifacts when I try to write. Well, to be fair, when I'm writing on a sheet of paper, it seems to make a difference, because I guess there's just a difference in how it ends. Well, I guess there's just the difference in how it ends up looking by virtue of there being a bit of push and, well, a bit of give on the paper. Still. And on the writing implement, too. Maybe I just need to replace the stylus tip. I do have a bunch of extra, and I've already replaced it once, but still. Huh, interesting. It's having to physically pull us up. I still write worse in both. Well, you're still in school, so you have somewhat of an excuse. Although, I was the kind of person who was very particular about learning cursive in school, so that helped. Mostly because I wanted to try and get one over on everyone else because I was a spoiled brat. Alrighty. So... Oh, those are back. Yeah. So, if we're running into a blocker down there, I'm wondering if we can find anything of value over in a different direction. After all, we still have another thread we can pull on through here, if memories. Yeah, it's even replaying this section, huh? You're that type of kid, huh? Yeah, well... The short version is that I did not get along with my peers in primary and middle school. So... I had the misfortune of believing that I was better than everyone else. So... And here we are. Alright, so... I wonder what that does. I wonder where this will end up taking us. So given that this is here, it's not likely we'll be able to get rid of this water anytime soon, if at all. Oh no, is this... Hang on a sec. This turning us around? Effective lead by the looks of it. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so we've got this lever to presumably control which direction along the path, this one to move us forward, the other lever to push us back along. So since that was a fork in the railing, they just wanted to give us the option as to where we want to go. I wonder how the water's pooling like that. Probably sci-fi mumbo-jumbo, but still. Let's see where this takes us. Is that a stock sound effect? Ah, well. Doesn't matter too much to me. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm able to get... Yeah, it doesn't look like they'll let us up this way yet. By virtue of where that ladder is. It looks like I either need to be closer, or I need to lower that ladder somehow. So I probably need to engage in some kind of shenanigans to make that happen. Unless I just need to get closer to it somehow by continuing to follow the railing. Although this looks like it's just going to take us back down, right? I'm not entirely sure where it's taking me now. Well, I guess we'll just keep going right until we get somewhere. I might have to map all this out like we did with the last... Well, when we were doing the minecarts in Myst. If you were in my school doing that, there's no hope, you ain't getting out of there not bullied. Well, I got away with that mentality a little bit in high school by keeping to myself. Everyone thought I was a lot smarter than I actually am by virtue of that, but... Okay, so this brings us up back where we were before. Okay, so it must have just pointed us back in the direction that we came from. Okay, good to know. So, that in mind... Rest assured, my peers would attempt to disabuse me of the notion, and Not getting along with them had its downsides. Alright then. Another one of those symbols. Well, let's turn this thing around and see what kind of effect that has. So presumably, it'll go in the direction that I pointed this. So presumably, it'll direct me this way? Yes! So let's see what can be found in this particular air pocket if I'm allowed in this one. Another one I'm not quite able to reach. Is there any that I can reach at this point, or am I gonna have to go around the outskirts first? Come on, at least let me look around a bit, dang it. Alright, so this looks like it's the spot closest to that village, huh? Alright. So where's this gonna take us? Alright, gotta turn around, huh? Actually, do I just have to use this? No, I have to turn around. Got it. Alright, now we go forward. Hiya! That same symbol I saw before. I guess that's what we're interacting with in order to press ahead one way or the other. Alright, fair enough. There we are. Taking its sweet time to move, but then again, this was a game made for computers in the late 90s, so they definitely worked for everything. Let's put it that way. Alright, so if I'm able to go forward again... So, going that way redirected us back over to the place where we started. Let's see where this one takes us. Alright, so this one has us facing a dead end, but presumably it'll be something interesting? Guess we'll find out. Still not able to reach, huh? Alright, so we're over on this side. Alright, presumably I'm not allowed to go forward. Figured as much. Alright, let's turn it around. Alright. Off we go. Okay, so I believe if I want to try going somewhere new, my option for that is to go over here. Let's take a look. wonder how they did all of these effects on old tech like this. Seems like this would have been difficult to pull off. Especially with the technology of the day. I'll have to research the making of for this. You were sitting there for a while. Let's see what lies within. Ah, somewhere we can actually go. Stairway built into the stone instead of just a ladder, huh? Interesting. Oh, hang on. This looks important. What'd this do? Hard to tell from just looking at it, but I'm wondering. Hard to tell just from looking at it, but I wonder if that has some influence over which ladders I'm able to go up. It's possible. It could also be a clue to something else. I'm gonna write this down real quick. Because it might have something to do with the other combination rule. Actually, I can just use the still image in OBS to help things out. Okay. My guess... Alright, thought I've got that written down. My guess is that I just have to raise all of these in order for it to actually work. But let me flip all of them real quick and see what kind of effect that has. Because in theory, if I go back down... I am not able to return to the pod. Okay, so I think what I was flipping does have some kind of effect on what I'm able to access as far as the pods are concerned. Let's flip them all up. Yes, that does extend it out to where I can mess with it. Oh yeah, hang on. Because that was oh yes, that does extend it. Excellent. Okay. Now we're cooking with gas. I don't know if there's any downside to having them all up, but okay, so that's probably not a combination then. But that is helpful. So, let's head back over and start checking out the entrances we just opened up. Alrighty then. I'd say we're making progress. I'm trying to remember which way leads us in the direction we want to go, but I'm sure we'll stumble our way back there eventually, right? Okay, so I believe I want to go this way then? Alright, that takes us to a pocket. But is this the pocket I was looking for? I think it is. Let's find out. Up we go. And it looks like chat's just deliberating something else right now. What's this do? I think before I accept that, presumably I can click on it. I haven't saved in a while. Oh, it's gonna be sent back up because I didn't accept, huh? Well, presumably I can just call it back, but that's okay. I haven't saved in a while. Let's do that. Resume. Hard to tell if someone is up there or not. Is there something I'm supposed to attach? It looked like that was on a timer. Or maybe I just clicked the wrong spot. But possible to. Well, let's drag it back one more time and see if we can figure it out. Also, what was that noise? I'd be concerned. I'm just gonna say yes and call it a day. And it eventually goes back up. Presumably then... Presumably I have to do something else before they allow me anything. I wonder what, though. Am I not allowed up there, or is there something specific that I need to do for this area first? That does look like it's where I need to go, because we've got that railing over there. Unless I need to move fast enough to get to the side of it and then click on it, perhaps, which is a possibility. Let's try that next. We'll try moving, because it doesn't last long, but I think... Yeah, I'm just not able to click on anything. Am I supposed to click and hold? Okay, so... One more attempt. Otherwise, we can just investigate the other points of interest as we try and figure out what the heck we're supposed to be doing. Alright, clicking and holding doesn't... Alright. So it looks like whatever I'm supposed to do for that, I don't quite have what I need. So... just a matter of figuring out what we do need then, huh? Alright. Let's go check out the other points of interest then. Wonder what we'll find. Okay. Go ahead and go forward. Trying to remember which way will take me somewhere novel. I want to say this way over here will just take me over to where I've been once already, just as a shortcut, but I may as well. May as well confirm that suspicion in my mind, if nothing else. Alright, head up. Okay, and we're back where we were before. Okay. Well, now that we've effectively reset our position, let's look around. So I guess our first order of business will check out a decent amount. Oh. go ahead and reverse direction. Check out that other way real quick, just to remind myself of that circumstance. Okay. Away we go. Now we go up, and we have a way up. Okay, and that leads us back over here. So this one we're well acquainted with. Let's just remind ourselves of the interaction points through here. So we're not able to do much through this area. Let's see, so we had this over here, which is how we were able to lower that first place. But there are obviously people here, but they clearly don't want to interact with me right now, given the circumstances. Blame them, to be fair. I am a stranger in a strange land. So, wonder what that has to do with anything. Well, we'll go find the other interaction points and then be on our way, I suppose. Remind me, I need to turn around if I want to get anywhere after this point? Yeesh. Alright, turn it around. There we go. Hang on. I looked down for 1 second and things looked off. Okay, I'm just going crazy. Never mind me. That leads back. And this is another route that can be taken. Let's move. I don't remember if this spits us out anywhere important. Although if I'm having trouble remembering this far out, I probably should call it soon. I don't even know if we've made any substantive progress anyway, given the circumstances, so... The amusing part of doing something like a point and click, and half the time twiddling your thumbs on the other half, wondering if you're twiddling your thumbs in the correct direction. Alright, so this brings us back here. What am I supposed to do? Given the circumstances, it might not be the worst idea to call it a night then. There aren't too many interaction points. Let's see. That one over there. That over there. We have 4 that we know. Actually, have I been over to that one yet? Looks like it should be a point that recently opened up, right? That's probably my best bet to check out next if I want to make forward progress. So, let's have a look. Okay. Let's see what we can find up here. Presumably I've got this correct and that I find something novel this way. Unless I just went back to somewhere I've already been. Nope, this is new. Excellent. Let's take a look inside. About to. What looks to be a gap. Social. Hang on. That symbol. Interesting. Blank tab. Well. Oh.
Terekoi danni, ki bayem revat, al royem betig tavom, ga bodona gayem. Ram.
Interesting. So this must have been a gathering hall. Guess that's what passes for a sermon in this place? Hang on. Well, this doesn't tell me too much as to what I'm supposed to do, though. If they wanted it written out in plain English, they would have written it out in plain. So. Huh? Interesting. I'd be writing down these symbols. What was the one before? Well, okay, let me just... Why am I going for an actual... Oh, go for your stylus, come on. You're not that silly. Not that tired either. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so first it was the eye, then it was unknown. Now it looks to be a house with a door on the side, maybe? Let's click it again. See what it changes to. Let's see, so about the midpoint. All right. And then it maintains that symbol again. I wonder what happens to it when it's... Alright, and then it's just a cross pattern. Okay. If I hit it again. And then that symbol. Okay. Let's keep hitting them. Alright, then I repeated that symbol. Wonder if there's any significance to these symbols. Alright, so that gets captured. and spools back up. I'm gonna run out of space in this. So let's see. So then it was the crossing. Now it's this symbol. So alright. Keep hitting it. Wonder if I'm reading too much into this. Possible, but I don't think it likely. I just hit... Okay, apparently that button just Alt F4's the game. Crap. Huh. Whoops. Control S is apparently the kill button when I'm in Riven. Got it. Wonder if that's a scum VM thing. Although, to be fair, actually, it's not the worst place to... Well, not the best place to end. Fair. I don't want to see what's behind the rest of that, but I feel like I'm just going in circles on that. So, might not be a bad time to call it, though. Alright, I guess for now I'll just show the note page since that I do have a blank screen otherwise. So thus far, you've got some notes about the boiler area and some scattered notes regarding the village. So I'll be very curious to see how it ends up going, but I think that's where we'll call it for tonight then, since that I don't want to stay up too late anyway, and I could end up on this thread for a while. We'll sleep on it and approach it another day. So on that note, just to give an idea for the schedule for the next week or so, go ahead and detail that real quick. So, main thing to note on that count. I think it's going to be a journey. Indeed, Lou. So, the schedule is a little wonky this week because I ended up with a very busy week at work and just in general. And as a result of that, it made more sense to me to move the Wednesday stream to Friday. Originally, it was going to be Golden Sun, but then I had the opportunity to burn down pretty much all that remained of Xenoblade 2, get that sorted. So, but because of that, I figured, okay, no, you're done with this week. You are just done in general, so well, it would be best if you decided to just lean back in your chair, not worry about Golden Sun. You can focus instead on maybe starting this game up, since you were planning on starting it up Saturday, and you can just play Golden Sun tomorrow. So, as far as the rest of this week is concerned, our focus is going to be on, well, our focus for tomorrow's stream will be to get back into Golden Sun so that we're not missing out on that anymore. As for next week, it's going to be pretty much, well, since that I'm still anticipating my Wednesdays to be rather busy, or at least busy enough to where I'm not going to want, well, where I will be tired to the point where I will not want to stream, I'm thinking that I can be more reliable on Friday nights. So going forward, I'm anticipating that I'll likely let this Friday stream be a more permanent fixture. I don't know for certain yet. After all, it is still a weekday stream, and I don't want to throw too much of an expectation on that count, but still, I think it would be good for me to have this as a weekday stream for a while anyway, so we'll try this out. We'll use it to knock out Golden Sun if nothing else, and if it goes, and I'm already planning on using it for something later down the line, so if it works out as such, great. So, beyond that, next week we will be back to Golden Sun on Friday and Riven, the sequel to Myst, on Saturday. So that'll be generally how things go, but this week just ended up being different by virtue of the circumstance. So that's all that needs to be said. Is there anything I missed in chat? Looks like it was mostly... Okay, so a bit of roasting me about my taste, even though you're all wrong. I actually can cook, first of all, Gilgamesh, but never mind that. I don't just mean in the metaphorical sense. Either way. Yeah, looks like I hit pretty much everything as it was coming in, so good to go there. So, next time we jump into this, I suppose we'll keep poking around a while, as Lou asked me about how to apparently destroy Canada. I don't know. Figure it out. Why would you want to, though? They're not that silly. They can be silly sometimes. Either way, that's where we'll call it. So, next time we jump into this, we'll hopefully be able to figure out more of what we're supposed to do. I can spend a bit of time on my own just to get back to the point where we were before, just to make sure everything's good to go. And apart from that, yeah, should be in good shape to return to this next week. So until then, thank you all for stopping by, and I will see you all later.